Good morning. How we doing today? How are we? Lead up to Manchester United versus Fulham away, where we haven't lost in like 6, 7, 8 years or something like that. Man, it's been a while. So better not lose today. I think it is a must-win game on this Sunday for United. I think it's a must-win. I don't think we can afford to not have the 3 points in the bag when this is done, honestly. It's even though we've got a good performance against Arsenal, I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous. Even though we had that good performance to me only matters if we win and we get points after this. Like, then we can say, yeah, we had a good performance. We got unlucky with the officials, all of that. And we went out the next week and we beat a team and we won and all of that. Then we can look at it and say there's positive things to think about. But if we lose or don't win, we can't talk about the performance. You know what I mean? 8 in a row away. 8 in a row away to Fulham. We can't. Today can't be a performance victory. We can't have a moral victory today. No moral victories today. We got to win. I mean, it is in a way, right? Like, obviously it's not a must win. Like, if you look at it from a purely like non-emotional, non-fan point of view, of course, you could say it's not a must win. It's the second game of the season. There's plenty of points to add. The team will get better as the season goes on, blah, blah, blah. But it is a must win. We can't not win 2 games in a row. We just can't. Once we start getting some points, I feel like after like maybe 10, 12 games in the season, if United are up at like, you know, the top 6 to 8 range, everything's going to relax a little bit and everybody's going to be like, okay, cool. I'm talking fan base wise, and be like, let's look at the pressure. Let's look at, you know, the performance. Let's look at all of these things and see the growth and the team get better as the season goes on. But what we really don't want to see is, you know, half a month into the season, first international break, we're in like the bottom of the league. We've got Burnley and Fulham to win, to get 6 points. You know what I mean? 6 points. Fulham and Burnley. 6 points. Yeah, it was smoky. That 11 Talks guy was definitely Hamza. Who would I choose between Caicedo and Baleba? Caicedo, he's better today. Baleba had a stinker and hooked. Oof. Maybe that price comes down. I mean, you know, maybe that price comes down. You never know. Maybe he has a bad season and then we don't want him at all. Crazy. But yeah, we've got to have a victory. We need 6 points before the international break comes along. We have to have those 6 points. Yeah, we've got to have the 6 points. That'll put us somewhere like in the top half of the table, probably. We have some good performance. If we had 6 points at the international break and we have that performance against Arsenal, we'll be like, hey, we're doing really well. We're doing really well. So it's just got to be. But we certainly can't be in the bottom still. The moral victories will only last so long, even for me. And I'm very positive. I'm a very positive person. In other news, let's see. Let me just make sure everybody else knows I'm live as I kind of dove straight into it. In other news, obviously, Lammens on his way towards signing for United. I haven't checked, did Antwerp play yet? They did. Okay. And he was left out of the team yes. He was left out of the team, not included in the squad for Antwerp. So that deal is real close. That deal is really progressing. And that deal is moving forward. I think, like I was saying yesterday, by Monday, Tuesday, that one will be done. I think it's now being said that it is fairly imminent. So that's good. That's good. That's good to see. Rasmus Højlund is nearing that move away to Napoli. They're very close to a deal now. I did see something that apparently AC Milan have backed out from their deal for Boniface for some injury reasons. Obviously, I think Rasmus will go to Napoli now. That one seems to be almost done. Unless, does that mean Milan could come back with a permanent offer on the table or something like that? I don't know. But regardless, he's very close right now to joining Napoli. So we should see that happen. Then the question becomes, what do we do with the money? If we get some sales of, we might see Bayindir leave. If we get some sales of Højlund, the Chelsea thing goes through, what do we do with the money? Do we have any kind of money to spend? That's the serious question. I keep being told that they're still looking at midfielders. They're still assessing the situation of midfielders, but there are no serious names that are coming up in terms of United's interest at this point in time that are kind of lined up. The feeling is obviously Adam Wharton, really, really difficult to near impossible. Yeoman, probably too expensive. Ederson, the other name, obviously we know is a long-term target that we've asked about. I still keep thinking about that one. Not 100% the right fit either, but a bit more athletic, a bit more versatile than others. Bruno, obviously the club expect him to stay. As I said yesterday, there's some reports kind of confirming that this morning. He is expected to stay, at least on United side.
Thought he insisted an obligation. Why is it a conditional one? Also Bale hooked. Now's the time after sales.
Yeah, so he wanted an obligation. I think the conditional obligation was kind of always on the table in terms of what Napoli were looking to offer. And they didn't really want to offer like straight up. I think there's another factor in that, which is it gives them more time to see it. Now, the conditions may well be very easy, and that may work for him. Like, play 10 games. You get your conditional obligation or something like that, It could be that simple. Baleba hooked and I don't think that changes anything. I don't think one poor half by Baleba at Brighton is going to make them suddenly want to sell him. But then again, you never know. No, I don't think that's going to happen. He was picked to start. So it has nothing to do with the management. It's just in game they benched him. So, yeah, we'll see on this midfielder front. We're still kind of looking at it, still kind of assessing it, but I'm not really hearing any sort of concrete motion as of yet. We might be done after Lammens. And again, I think I'd be really happy with the window in that case. What I would for sure rather us do, in my personal opinion, which I've shared many times, is I would rather us not buy I would rather wait for the perfect person in that midfield than spend the money elsewhere. I would rather wait for that. For me, getting that goalkeeper in was the thing that's like prevents us from getting sabotaged, right? I feel like that's the last position of the team where United are being straight up sabotaged every week. Yeah, in terms of the team guys, I don't put the news out early on teams regardless because I don't think it's right. I think it's been good that there have been no leaks. It's better that the team isn't leaking early. Why give the other team an advantage of any kind? Oh, my goodness. Sorry, that goal from James Garner. Wow, what a goal. What a hit. Oh, my God, near post. What a flying goal. Anyway, that was quite a goal. Good Lord. Jackie Grealish with the assist, by the way. He might have a good time at Everton. It seems like the pressure be off of him in the way that it is at City, and he can play more naturally the way he does too. But yeah, Lammens, I think, would be the player that stops us from having our team be sabotaged week in and week out. And yeah, on the team, I don't leak the team news ahead of time. I don't think that's right to do. If you would like your team, why do something that would potentially give the opposition any kind of tactical advantage? Now, obviously, you would say me saying it 4 minutes before the team out is not, but it's also a matter of there's also the matter of like, it's just the club don't like it. You know what I mean? A 2-yard pass. Yeah, it was a small pass, but he's had a decent game, has Grealish. He had assist on the first goal too, I believe. So he's got 2 assists now, I think. He's had a good game for Everton, as far as I've seen. He's been able to do his thing a little bit. You know what I mean? And it seems like a good match for him, a good place where he's going to get time to sit on the ball and play the way he wants to play. Yeah, otherwise, what else? The lineup is going to be out 2 minutes. I suspect it's going to be almost the same, if not exactly the same, as it was before. Blink twice if I'm not in the squad. Yeah, Rasmus is not in the squad. We do know that. He has not traveled. If he pops up randomly in the away end watching the game, I guess we'll see if he rode the train by himself or something. But no, I don't think so. Let's see. Let's get the lineup pulled up. I expect it's going to be the exact same, bar 1, maybe 2 changes. I don't think it'll change much. I actually don't know, just in case you think I'm being coy here, I actually do not know if Benjamin Sesko starts, okay? I don't know if he starts, and I'm curious to see that, because even though we had a good performance, I don't think we're at the stage of the season where you can make too many decisions purely based on one game's performance. I mean, it's the beginning of the year. Should you not be working to get your best team in place and kind of sawed off, all right, one game is fine, but you need to get your best team going. And the best team and what we need definitely includes Benjamin Sesko. And if you were looking at that first match as well and saying what was our weakness, and potentially even let's take it away from the goalkeeper mistake. Let's take it away from the officials. Let's take it away from the referees. What was the thing that was wrong that could have helped us win that game was having a striker in that first half, right? We had many opportunities to get the ball in the box, and we didn't. So I think it would be a mistake not to start Sesko. But you know how it is. Last week, we all looked at the lineup and said, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be awful. We disagree with all of these feelings, all of these thoughts. It's all crap. And then we put in a great performance. So it's hard to know, I don't want to make sweeping judgments ahead of time, but obviously, the intention here is to get Benjamin Sesko going. So hopefully he does in fact play. You know what I mean? That would be my feeling on the matter. All right. Lineup should be out. All right. No Sesko. Bayindir starts still. No Sesko, but Ahmad in for Dallo. Okay. Okay. Otherwise, the same. Ahmad for Dallo, and that's it. Which isn't particularly surprising, but I do think we are missing having I think it'll be this then again, right? I think we're going to miss having no striker once again in this game. But it's a good team. I told you last week that Ahmad didn't start for other reasons and that he would start as soon as he was fine. He's fine this week. He starts. He was intended to start last week, but as far as I know, he was actually had a little bit of illness in the week leading up to the game, and that was the reason. So I did tell you that. It wasn't like he went really defensive on purpose or something with Dalot. Ahmad was not fully fit. He's fine now, and he starts. So it's a good team. The only thing you could really say is Sesko, right? That's the only thing you can really say. Everything else, you can justify it fully. And then at the same time, you say, but Mount was so good. Still, I think we're gonna lack the box presence. But let's see what happens. I would rather we switch it. Get Mount into the front three, into the striker, especially because if we can just dominate possession and slow the game down a bit, then that would be very, very good. That would be very, very good. Maybe he just doesn't think he's ready. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. It's his call. Like I said last week, I'm not going to make those kind of judgments ahead of time about the team, because it worked out a lot better last week, and yeah. But yeah, Onana is on the bench, which means it's Onana, Dalot, Fredrickson, Heaven, Maguire, Mainu, Ugarte, Sesko, and Xerxes. So, that's scary. Only one academy player in the squad today. And it's Kabi Mainu, of course. But that's interesting, because if
Amorim starts the season 0-2 with Sesko not starting either match, and he might be added to the firing squad.
Well, I don't disagree with you, Nicest Doom. We have to win. You know, these are the calls you make. These are the calls that get you games. You know what I mean? These are the calls that justify it or not. These are the calls that the manager has to make, and these are the calls you live and die by. Is it successful or not? At the end of the day, if you win, you're right. If you lose, you're wrong. You know, if you lose, like we were talking about. Oh yeah, Fredrickson. Sorry, we did have two. I forgot about Fredrickson. That's probably why he's also being included as well. Making sure we always have that extra player. But good for him to make the bench again. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of Fredrickson. I read his name out and it didn't process in my brain. Shaw's homegrown, but he's not an academy player. We have plenty of homegrown players. We've got Shaw. We've got, we don't have that many homegrown players, frankly, but we do have a few. Well, I know Ahmad was playing. I said last week he was going to play. But like I said last week, it's not that Sesko starting means we would win. But what it does mean is if you don't win, and let's say it looks like you'd want a striker in the box, and you don't have that striker, you're opening yourself up to those criticisms. At the same time, Benjamin Sesko arrived, 2 weeks ago? Is what it is. You know what I think is really funny? I got to say this. Hold on. I got to say what I think is really funny here. I want to discuss this keeper thing because week in and week out, it's so funny. And I think that I think that we're going to learn something. I have a feeling Sesko will be on by halftime, by the way. I think Sesko will come on as halftime. But week in and week out, and I think you may realize something from this, we get briefs on the Saturday, the Friday, that Onana is the number one keeper, and Onana is set to take his, to stay in the squad, and Onana is the first choice keeper, and Onana is sure that he's going to reclaim his place, and Onana this and Onana that. And then now Sunday rolls around, last week left out, this week on the bench. Makes you wonder, where are we getting all of these stories about Onana? Who's saying that he's going to be the guy, that he's starting, and that he's for sure the number one? Because it doesn't seem like it's Ruben Amorim saying it. And people have been so fooled by this whole goalkeeper thing. That's what I was saying the other day, this goalkeeper thing was not an accident. This goalkeeper thing was not a surprise. It was not necessarily a reaction. It was not necessarily something like that. It was...
Last week we said
trust Amorim's decisions. Yeah. And I think we stand by that this week. You know, like and then we go and buy a goalkeeper. It was like, oh, no keeper's coming, and then we buy a goalkeeper. It makes you wonder, man, that I think all summer somebody has been saying that Onana's the guy. He's not the freaking guy. I said all year that Ruben Amorim had no confidence in Onana. He does like him as a personality, but I said he does not have confidence in the goalkeeper. And he kept getting all these stories saying Amorim's happy with his goalkeepers. Who is saying that? Who is saying that? Who is the one saying that? You know, because it's never been true. Ruben Amorim has never been happy with his unit of goalkeepers. He was so unhappy with it that it was a sure thing. It was almost a certainty that we would get a goalkeeper at certain points during the window. And then it kept getting played down. Rashford at it again, right? You know, it kept getting played down. And then in the end, Onana's not starting 2 weeks in a row. I'm impressed with how fooled United journalists have been on this whole goalkeeper thing. I'm impressed, honestly, because there's a lot of good journalists who have it totally wrong, and it's quite impressive. I think it's very, very funny. Now, Lammens will obviously, as we expect, be coming in the next day or two, and then we'll see what happens if he starts against Grimsby or something. I don't know if he'll be ready to start against Grimsby. I don't know if he'll make the registration period. I don't know. There's a few things, but Burnley would seem like it's a good opportunity. It's not as if he's going to tell the press. I know, but it's not even just that. It's like, it's the stories. Like when you write stories, it's not necessarily just about what people say. It's like, there was so many briefings through summer that Onana was the guy, and they were super happy with Onana, and he's the certain guy, and he's for sure it. Obviously, he wasn't. Obviously, he's not. You know? Did Onana showing up unfit to preseason have anything to do with the decision? It certainly pushed a little bit in the direction, as far as I know. I think they were not super stoked about that whole situation. He did tell the press if he paid attention. I know, and that's the funny part, DB, is that he I think, kind of made it clear in the way that he was talking, while the stories were sort of the opposite. And I'm just really, really impressed with how much they kind of fooled everybody. Because there's never been confidence. And I said all summer, if they didn't get a keeper, it was the one thing that was a mistake. Because I knew for a fact they spent all season assessing the goalkeepers and saying, we don't have the right guy. So you can't lie to me. Because I knew it. I knew for a fact from personal experience that they spent all year looking at keepers. So I couldn't be fooled by this idea that they were happy with their keepers. I knew that was just briefs, you know, it's not real. But still there were points I thought we wouldn't do it and that they were going to screw it up, but hey, we're getting Lammens. Either way, guys, that means the original bet is on, and we have to go for the Bayindir facial hair should he keep a clean sheet today. That's what that means. Who would you compare Lammens to in terms of established keepers? Probably Milinkovic-Savic if you've watched him. On his line, tall, not a sweeper, decent with the ball, very good shot stopper. good at claiming crosses. Because I haven't watched a ton of him, but when we were linked, I went back and watched a fair bit of him. And they're similar, very similar kind of profiling. Courtois, sure. I mean, I don't like to make the comparison to Courtois because Courtois is really, really good. but yeah. That's just what I've seen of him when I've watched. But you have to watch how a player transitions to a new league and all of that. Yeah. No, I don't think he's poor claiming crosses. I don't know where that comes from, to be quite honest. I'm not sure where somebody's getting that idea from. I don't think that that's correct. I think that's a misprofiling of him. We just need a keeper with working arms, yeah. Yeah, for sure. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Yeah, look, on Benjamin Sesko, the reality is, as we've seen before with Ruben Amorim, what he values pretty much more than anything is I would just guess like fitness and readiness. You know what I mean? And he didn't say he's poor at making crosses. His decision can be poor because he's hyperactive at claiming them. That's fine. That's correct. Yeah, he's aggressive, right? And young keepers tend to be maybe a little over-enthusiastic at times, and they can make some mistakes. But look, with Sesko, the reality is he's been here 2 weeks. I would like to see him start. But I also do know, the way that Ruben Amorim plays football, he's talked about this, that if you've watched again the way that he managed at Sporting, the way that he sees things, the way that he views the game, Ruben Amorim really likes to finish with a team that's maybe stronger than the team he started with. So what he will often do is say, well, bear in mind, Andy, we also have a game against Grimsby on Wednesday. So what's Sesko going to do? I believe Sesko will play 35, 40 minutes today, and then he will start against Grimsby. And that's the best game to get him going in. You maybe get some confidence, easier to get a goal in that game and kind of kick things up a notch. But Ruben Amorim likes to end a lot of teams the way that he wants. He likes to have options off of the bench to finish games and end stronger because that second half can be almost more important. Against with Sporting, he almost always would change the fullbacks, change the dynamics, start different players in different positions. Does that mean we shouldn't be starting Sesko moving forward? No, of course not. I would definitely like to see Benjamin Sesko start as soon as possible and get going. But certainly, I think Grimsby, you could feel very confident in getting him a game against Grimsby that something will happen. But what do you have here? You have the ability to bring on Kobbie Mainoo, Xerxes, Sesko, Ugarte, Maguire, Dallo, a lot of players that can change the dynamics of the game depending on what you need.
There's all shots faced comp where he looks poor on crosses, but it's a comp where crosses leads to shots. So looks bad, but is a fail comp for crosses.
Yeah. This is, but it's comps where crosses lead to shots, right? Exactly. That's exactly that, right? It's survivorship bias, or in the other words, a confirmation bias. It's the crosses you don't get, then obviously, because the ones you get, there's no shots, so you're never going to see successful crosses claimed on that thing. So Sesko will be starting. Sesko will be starting soon. So that's the fact of it. He will. But he obviously just doesn't view him to be ready as of yet, and feels that he's going to be more impactful as a player off the bench than as a starter today. That's his view. I definitely think we're going to look even better once we actually get a striker on the pitch. Mbeumo was kind of taking the burden off of that, by doing some of the strikers' runs and providing that outlet ball in the first game, but we need to see more. We need to see more. We definitely do. If we're chasing the game late, as often we are against Fulham, trying to get that breakthrough, having Sesko on for the last 30, 40 minutes when we can lump crosses in is also certainly a good potential reason, having him at the end of the game in there until he's fit enough to play 90, which he may not be at the moment. So, yeah. Either way, we will have. Why would Xerxes not going to be a starter in any case? Xerxes not a starter. Mount likes him more. He likes Mount more. Yeah, we'll do the post-match show after the game. If Mount does well in the first half, would Ruben still sub? Yeah, because I don't think Mount can play 90 minutes, frankly. I think he's going to keep protecting him from 90, Except the last day we didn't put... I know, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't have. Doesn't mean we shouldn't have. So, yeah, we'll see. We see. It's relax, man. If he can play 90 minutes, he would be starting. If he can't play 90 minutes, then he has to make decisions about how to do it. He will almost assuredly start against Grimsby, and then you have Burnley at the weekend to pick it up. Then you have the international break, and by after that, Sesko, I'm sure, will be ready to go fully from the beginning. No, Mount's not the striker. Mount was the 10 and Cunha was the striker. So it's more like just getting the players on that he really likes. And Mount, again, had a full preseason. Joshua Xerxes did not. So, there's a lot of different dynamics in there. But, I didn't want to do a long pre-match live because there's not too much to yap about ahead of the game. We just need to have a good game. We just need to win. It has to be a huge success here. We've got to win and hopefully comfortably, get a bunch of goals, like multiple goals and a clean sheet, and just have a comfortable, strong victory. The team's good enough. Like, I don't really care. Like when you take this team and you compare it to them, what Fulham have, this team should be comfortably good enough to win this game. And then when you look at that, you can bring Sesko on, that you can bring Mainu on, that you can bring other players on. This team should be good enough to win against Fulham, period. With the attack that we have, with the players that we have. Even if you get 30, 40 minutes of Sesko, Cunha, and Bumo towards the end. Like, even with this, it's good enough to win. And we should see a win out of it. So, there's no excuses for it today. We have to win. We have to win these games. Hopefully, we don't see Bayindir make another error. That would be the main thing. So let's see it, guys. Hopefully a win. Join me for the watch along later. The link is pinned in the chat there. I'll be live in just under an hour for that, and we will watch the game and hopefully have a nice, fun, enjoyable game where if we perform like we did in the last one, we will win. We will score a few goals. So, but it is a must win. We cannot lose. We cannot lose today. We really can't. Okay? I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all later. I'll see you for the match in about 45 minutes. Enjoy, and I will see you today. 40 minutes till the match. Come join me over there on Big Up. The link is pinned in the chat. Enjoy the game. Otherwise, I'll see you guys after if you don't join me for the watch along.